Today is August 27th, 2021. My name is Joe Todd. This is an interview with Maxine Monte in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. Ma'am, where were you born?
And my birthday, or my birthplace is Allowee.
Oh.
You know where Allowee is?
Yes. And when's your birthday?
January 27th, 1927.
1927. Who is your father?
Floyd Inman.
And your mother?
Gladys.
What was her maiden
name was Tate.
Tate.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Did you go through school in Allowee?
No. No. I started school, I think, at Lenapaw.
Lenapaw. Why did the family move to Lenapaw?
Oh, but it was hard times, and we just moved around to try to find a job for my dad.
What kind of work did your father do?
He just anything he could find, you know. But he ended up being a pipe, working in the pipe yard, and
Okay.
that was quite some time after that.
Pipeline, pipe fitter?
Yes.
Who did you work for?
Keystone
Keystone.
in Dowater.
Okay. You started the school in Lenapaw?
Yes. Rode the bus. My mom waited until I was almost 7 before she started. Cause
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. How big was the Lenapaw school?
Oh, I have no idea. Probably they had, I'd say maybe 200 students.
Okay.
It was all school, 1st to the 12th grade.
Okay. Tell me about recess at school. What did you do during recess?
We had swings and slides, and that's what we did. We went outside and played when we could.
Mm-hmm. And you graduated from Lenapaw High School?
Yes, I did.
What year?
1945.
1945. Okay. Who was your favorite teacher?
There was Doris Cox was our 3rd grade teacher, and I liked her.
3rd grade?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why was she your favorite?
I don't know. She just connected with the children more than most of them did.
Mm-hmm. How did the Depression affect you and your family?
Oh, we were really poor people. My dad didn't have a job. I don't know, you probably didn't live or didn't know enough about it at that time, but the Depression, it was really bad. You know, no job, no really permanent place to live. We just went from one place to another, you know, and lived with my grandfather most of the time.
Now, did he live in Lenapaw?
No, he lived out in rural Nowata.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when you were how did you travel around when you were?
For a long time, we had a horse and wagon.
Yeah.
We didn't travel very much.
Yeah.
But it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, did you live in Lenapaw or live outside of Lenapaw?
Well, as I said, we lived several places. We lived in outside of rural Nowata, and then we lived with my grandfather too, who was outside of Nowata, and then we lived several places around Lenapaw.
Okay. Did you have a garden at these places? Did you raise a garden?
Yes, my mom was the gardener.
What chores did you do around the house?
Not too much. I can say that my mother was really a good mother.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'd go out and feed the chickens, and then when I got bigger, we'd hoe the garden.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that.
What did you raise in the garden?
Oh, everything. Corn. In fact, when my dad tried to be a farmer, but he wasn't any farmer.
Yeah.
Most of the farm work was done by my mother.
Yeah, okay.
But we raised tomatoes, beans, lettuce, onions, potatoes.
In high school, what did you do for recreation?
What we did do for recreation. I can't remember. I didn't play basketball, so I didn't do that.
Yes.
But we just wasn't much to do really. Just
Okay.
being with kids our age. We
Yes.
like just being
Okay.
around other children. But if you live in the country, it's hard to do that.
Yes.
So in school, you do all the socializing you can.
And you said you rode the school bus to school?
Yes.
Okay.
Except when I lived with my grandfather and we walked 1.25 miles
Okay.
to
Okay.
school.
Where were you December 7th, 1941?
I don't remember where we were at that time. We were out in the country, so we really didn't know anything
Yes.
about it, no radio or anything. But at that time, I went my freshman year to school at Nowata, and I can remember when the president got up. We got in an auditorium, and the president had the radio on, and he got up and declared war with Japan.
Hmm.
I do remember that.
What did you think about this?
Well, there just wasn't any communication between other people except at school, and, it was scary, because I was, as I said, a freshman in high school, probably about 12 or 13 years old.
Now, did many of the young men in this area enlist or go to the service?
I can remember right after that happened, a lot of the boys in senior year or something ran out to enlist right away, and of course they wouldn't take them until after they finished school.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But there were a lot of them, and I can remember, although we moved away from Nowata, I can remember a couple twins that went and volunteered, and then when they got out of high school, they went, and one of them didn't come back.
What were their names?
I think their last name was Parrott.
Parents?
And they went by, I think he's Blue and Brownie Parrott. They were twins.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't ask. Did you help your mother with the washing?
Yes.
How'd you do the washing?
Well, we were lucky enough to have a washer, a spin washer,
Mm-hmm.
and a wringer, that you, and we,
Was it a Maytag?
yes, it was, yeah. But you had to, we didn't have running water, so we had to carry the water in and then empty it and carry it out.
Where'd you get the water?
We had a cistern,
Okay.
yeah.
How far from the house was the cistern?
Well, of course, I said we lived in different places, close to the house.
Okay.
It was, yeah.
Okay.
But I can remember my younger sister, she was 3 years younger than I was, remember her getting her hand in the wringer.
Now, did your mother buy soap or did she make her soap?
She bought it.
Okay. After the war started, did you help with the scrap metal drives and rubber drives for the war effort?
No, but we did live in Lindapaw. After my dad, during the Depression, he did finally get a job with the government at building Grand River Dam. But then after that, we moved to Lindapaw, and we were he had a service station, rented a service station.
Okay.
And I can remember the rationing of the gasoline, and I was old enough then that I helped with that.
Yes.
The gasoline and the tires, you had to have a ration.
How did the ration system work?
I didn't have, except for that, I didn't have too much, to do with that, except I did know when they could buy gasoline, if they had a ticket to buy gasoline.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember our getting ration books and for sugar, and I can't remember what it was, flour, I think, or something, and we used those rations to get.
Did your mother make your clothes?
Make what?
Did your mother make your clothes?
Yes, she did, all of them.
Where did you get the material?
She bought it at a dry goods store
Okay.
in town.
Okay. Mhm.
Yeah.
So she was a good seamstress.
Yes, she was very good.
What sewing machine did she have?
Singer.
Singer.
Yeah.
Okay.
A treadle.
Yes. Yes.
In fact, my granddaughter has that old treadle machine.
Yeah.
She had.
Mhm. So, what ration stamp was used for gas? Do you recall?
I don't recall.
Okay.
The other day when I should have left that out because I had such a time. I was in my cedar chest trying to find something, and I had such a time with it, and I found some of those ration
Yeah.
things, but I didn't keep them out.
Now, were shoes rationed?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I know that I think nylon was. The reason I
Okay.
remember that's because I worked at Phillips at that time, and Phillips was good enough that if they got hose in any of the stores in town, they let the women off long enough to go buy a pair of hose.
When did you start working for Phillips?
What?
When did you start working for Phillips?
I started well, I worked with them 2 different times, but I came over here right after I graduated from high school because, my parents couldn't send me to college. And so I went to a success secretarial school. Then after 3 or 4 months, I had a chance to apply to Phillips for a job. And I thought I was a good enough secretary that I applied for private secretary. But I had to take a test, but I did get it.
And what department did you work?
Refining department.
Refining
Mhm.
department. That is that at the research center downtown or where?
Downtown.
Downtown.
Yeah.
Okay. In which building was it, the old Phillips building or what?
Yeah. It was actually, they called it an addition to it. I can't remember what they called, but it was a smaller building that was built onto
Okay.
the old building. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I worked with them only about a little over 2 years, and I got married and I quit.
Okay. Do you remember VE Day when Germany surrendered?
No, I don't, and I don't understand why, because I don't remember anything about that.
What about VJ Day when the war ended, when Japan surrendered?
When what?
When Japan surrendered.
Yes, and later on I found out my my husband was on the aircraft carrier, and he was in the Tokyo Bay when they signed
Yes.
the peace treaty. Yeah.
Did you celebrate on VJ Day?
Yes, but
What'd
I
you
don't
do?
remember what.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Where'd you meet your husband?
Where? Here.
Okay.
Here, after he got out of service.
What's your husband's name?
Merrill, Meril,
Okay.
and he came from Kansas. But when he got he's the one that enlisted. He was one of them that enlisted. I didn't know him at the time.
Yeah.
Before he got out of high school.
Okay.
And as soon as he got out of high school, he was 17, but he went in. And
What part of Kansas was he?
around Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Parsons, Pittsburgh.
So he enlisted in high school. Yes.
Yeah.
And you said he was in the Navy.
He was on the aircraft carrier,
Which aircraft carrier?
USS Lexington.
Lexington.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
yes.
And you say he was in Tokyo Harbor
Yes.
when they
yes.
signed the surrender.
Yeah. Of course, he was in the South Pacific, and that was this terrible place to be in.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
he got. He wouldn't talk about it after we got married because this is horrible. But then he did talk about the pilots. He worked for the captain, so he pretty well was real close to the pilots. And in fact, he ate with them a lot of times, he said. And he'd go up, and as soon as when they went out on a mission, when they came back, he'd run up and see if any, which ones didn't come back.
Yeah. Now, how did you meet your husband?
He was working for the railroad. As I said, he tried to go to college, and he didn't get, he couldn't get the GI Bill, on the GI Bill, so he just went one semester. He couldn't get it, so he went to work for the railroad company, worked in the ticket office, and he transferred down here, and so I met him.
And he was in the railroad office?
I met him, yeah, down here, and he said,
Was he in the depot?
yes, yeah, yeah. And he and some other friends of his roomed down here, and they worked at the.
Okay.
But I talked him into applying for Phillips, and the day he got a notice that he had to move to some other office for the railroad, he got an offer from Phillips to go to work. So. Yeah.
How long did you date him before you were married?
Not very long. Probably 4 or 5 months before we got engaged, and then we were engaged about a month.
And you were married, when were you married?
December 31st, 1947.
1947.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how long did you work for Phillips after you were married?
Well, I went to work after my first child was born again. I worked for them about 2 years, and then I worked for them 5 years. Mm-hmm. And quit, and had another child, and I didn't go back to work. I stayed with them for a while, and I went back to work later, but I went to work for the credit union at that time.
What stores did you shop in Bartlesville?
Dress shop, I like Copples, mostly. Montaldo's, you know. I think there was another one there too, Sharon's or something, yeah.
What grocery store did you shop?
Landers down on
Keeler?
Keeler and, yeah.
And Frank Phillips, or 3rd Street at the time?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. How big was Bartlesville when you got married or when you moved here?
Was it what?
How big was Bartlesville when you moved here?
I don't have any idea, but it wasn't nearly as big as, you know. No, none of these outside Pennington or Woodlands or anything. It was just compact. We lived in town until I guess our daughter was 3 or 4 years old, and we bought a house down on Keeler. I mean, down on Dewey, South Dewey.
Before you moved on Dewey, where'd you live in town?
We shared a house with a couple down on, and I don't remember their names. After we lived in when we first got married, we had to live in just a room because everything was, you know, there wasn't any place to live.
What you know the street you lived on?
I lived on Shawnee, and he had a sleeping room down. Oh, what street is that? 2nd Street, I think, out from the courthouse, down from the courthouse.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
where did you move?
And then we finally got an apartment, but then when I got pregnant, they didn't want children, so the only thing we could find is we shared a house with another couple.
Okay. And where'd you move on Keeler? Where did you move? You said you bought a house. No, you bought a house on Dewey.
On Dewey.
Well, where on Dewey?
2261.
2261 Dewey.
Yeah, it was a new house, just newly built, and we got a GI loan.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. And so you were a stay-at-home mom then after that?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Until my son was 12 years old, and then I went back to work.
Where'd you go to work when you're?
Credit union.
Okay. Which credit union?
Well, it was Phillips, but it's Truity now.
Okay.
I worked for them for 15 years.
And where was the credit union in those days?
It was over, when I started, it was over in that building where they are now. And then they built a new building down on, right across from the Phillips building.
Yes.
There on the corner of, Keeler and 4th Street, I think, wasn't it?
4th and, I think Johnstone. Is it Johnstone?
No, it was down on Keeler.
Okay. Is that the original place on Keeler?
It was a new building, right? They built it while I worked there.
Okay.
And, of course, it's gone now because they tore it down.
Yeah, they built the new one on Johnstone there.
Well, no, they didn't build that. That building was there.
Okay.
They just finally, I think they have the whole building now.
Yeah, okay. Now, where was the credit union originally?
I think it was in the basement, but that was before I went to work.
Of the Phyllis building?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you have any memories of the home front during the war? What was going on?
Not really, because there wasn't, wasn't much communication, really.
Yes.
It just what you got on the radio, and that wasn't too much.
Did the school have where you bought the stamps to buy the war bonds? Did you buy stamps to buy the war bonds in school?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
We did buy war bonds, but
Yeah.
I didn't. That was after I was married.
Okay. So what have you done since? When did you retire?
Retired in 1985 when my husband did. Just a few months after my husband. I was going to work a little longer, but I decided that I saw him retired, and I thought that was a pretty good deal.
Okay.
He was one of the lucky ones that he retired when they had this big layoff and they combined with ConocoPhillips.
Yes. Okay. Now, when did you move into Green Country?
In 2015.
2015.
We moved here together,
Mhm.
and we're here a year, and he passed away.
Okay. When did he pass away?
When?
Yeah.
Around the 1st of about 4th of November of 2016, I think.
Okay. Have you had a good life?
Yes, very good, because after we retired, and as I said, he was lucky enough to be a Phillips employee at that time. We traveled a lot.
Yeah.
We loved to travel. Mm-hmm. When the kids were growing up, we couldn't really afford too much, but we took a car trip every year, and always took them. If we went through a state that there was something special or the thing, we'd take them by to see that.
Yeah.
Eventually, we went to all 50 states.
Yes.
And all but one province of Canada.
You traveled overseas?
What?
You traveled overseas?
Oh, yeah.
Where'd you go?
We went to, we were in England 3 times, and then we went to all the British Isles once.
Okay.
And we went to Belgium, Paris, let's see, Italy, and then we were in all of the countries between Central America.
Yes.
We were in all the countries in Central America, and we went to Colombia and Venezuela in South America. And, so we really enjoyed traveling, and I think we had like 17 cruises or something.
When you worked at Phillips, who was your supervisor?
My first supervisor was Guy Miller.
Guy Miller.
Yeah, he was in charge of the electrical refining department. They did all the electrical work and stuff at the different refineries.
Yeah.
And then I worked for Preston Briggs, who was head of the refining department in Bartlesville.
Okay. Today, when you hear the name Franklin Roosevelt, what's your reaction?
Well, I just think he was a wonderful person. I just think that he just handled the country well, when, of course, not financially like they do now, paying money out and everything. If we got money, we had to earn it.
Yes.
But I think around that time, he established the unemployment, I think, about that time, and different things.
Harry Truman.
He what?
Harry Truman.
Oh, I don't know. He was okay. I think he was kind of grunt sometimes.
What do you think about the atomic bomb when they dropped it?
The economy what?
The atomic bomb they dropped on Japan.
Oh, the atomic bomb. Well, anything it was just really scary. Scary. I just, just shuddered. You always think of what would happen if turned on you, and,
Yep.
you know. And of course, as I said, my husband was down, they visited
Mhm.
Hiroshima, I think, whatever it was, when he was on board ship. When they were there.
What about Dwight Eisenhower?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't really, there doesn't seem like too much going on or something when he was after. He was a great general, I'm sure. Yeah.
Well, man, this is a very good interview.
What?
This is a very good interview.
Well, I have really enjoyed life, though.
Yes.
I had a very good life.
What else anything else you want to talk about?
No, not necessarily. I just think that, except that what's going on now, when we were in depression, we had no idea how bad the depression was, except just how we were.
Yeah.
And, you had to stand in commodity lines. I remember standing in commodity lines and eating beans and rice. And, I said, people complain now about things and they don't have any idea.
Tell me about your children.
What?
Tell me about your children.
We had two children. One, let's see, she was born in 1940, latter part of 1948. And it's very, very good. She was a very good student, and and she went to Arkansas University. She was a German major, so she got to go to Germany to study for a year. The Arkansas University had a trade or something.
Yes.
She went over there and studied for a year. Came back, and she got married after she came back, married a man that was at Arkansas University, and they moved to Bartlesville, and she was going to teach German here. So she went 1 year, or she taught, after they got married, he had another year of school, so she taught a year German in Arkansas University. Came over here, and so she had to start out, of course, they didn't need a German teacher. She started out as just a fill-in, substitute. She did it a few times. She says, I'm not going to do that anymore. If you go, you babysit.
Yes.
You can't tell them anything about what you know about Germany or anything else. So she got a job with child welfare with the state. And and they were married 10 years before they had a child. But then right after she had a child, we knew something physically was wrong with her because she'd fall and she had different symptoms, but they never could find out what her problem was. And when after she had she'd been in several times before she was pregnant, but after she had her child, the doctor, I can't remember his name, but the neurologist here said, because with child welfare she was hospital a lot, said, if you'll let me take a spinal tap, I'll find out what's wrong with you. And he said, they decided she had MS. But even after that, she worked and for a long time, and the state paid for her to get a master's degree at OU and then then they transferred. She established a rehab office here for the state, and then they moved her to Oklahoma City, Norman, and she worked there for a long time. She went, from cane to wheelchair, but she still worked. And then finally they laid her off, and she tried to get another job, but she said, I know I won't be able to because when I go in a wheelchair, they won't hire me. And so she passed away about 11 years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was her name?
Sharon.
Sharon.
Okay. She had one child, and of course her child then when they moved to Norman, she had a car that she had to hand operate to get places, and then she would unload her wheelchair. But her granddaughter started to Arkansas, and then decided her mom needed her, so she quit and came back.
Okay.
But then she worked and got her degree.
What about your son?
My son is, he went to OU. We thought he was going to go to music school because he was the head drummer here,
Yeah.
and all this sort of stuff. But first when he first wanted to start school, you know, the music people come around and wanted your drum, want to know what musical instrument you want to play, and he said the drums. So the musical instructor called and he said, "Mrs. Monte, every boy wants to play the drums." And so I said, "Well, I'll try." So I tried to talk him out of it, and I couldn't.
Yeah.
So he went on, and he ended up being head drummer. So when he went to OU, we thought he'd be in the band, you know, and marching band, and he'd be a music major. But he switched to drama right away. And so he was a good student too. We went to, what was it? They took him. He had two real good professors. And when he graduated from OU, instead of him going directly to New York to be an actor, one of the instructors or professors in OU decided that he could apply for a scholarship at Wayne State in Detroit. So he applied and he got a scholarship. So after he got that, he went to New York to act, and he said, "You can't act. You can't act on Broadway unless you have belong to Actors Guild. You can't get an Actors Guild until you prove that you can really do something in acting." So he traveled a couple of years with this Broadway shows, you know. And then one of his other instructor called him and asked him if he'd like to come to the Kansas University and teach and get his doctorate. So he did that, and then he worked applied at Interlochen Fine Arts Academy in Michigan, which is a private arts high school. And he was a drama director. He established the drama department there, and he was a drama instructor for 30 years at Interlochen.
What's his name?
David.
David?
Yes.
David Monte.
Yes. And he's written 2 books. So, and he retired a couple of years ago after 30 years at Interlochen.
And where does he live now?
He still he lives in Interlochen or near Traverse City.
Okay.
Yeah. I told him, I said, you think that you'll move south where it's warm? And he said, "No, we love the summers here," so they stayed there.
Okay.
So therefore, I don't get to see him very often.
Well, ma'am, this is a very good interview. And again,
Well, I feel like I had a full life and a good
yes,
life.
yes.
The only thing I miss my husband so much
Oh,
because
yeah.
we were married about
Yes.
69 years.
Yes. And again, my name is Joe Todd. This is August 27th, 2021. This has been an interview with Maxine Monte in Bartlesville, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, this is August 31st, 2020, a follow-up interview with Maxine Monte. Okay, Maxine, tell me about your family.
My family, my mother's parents were, of course, Tates and Estes, but my grandmother her family came on the Trail of Tears, and but they settled in Arkansas. And after we got to finding out all about them, they said they called those the outlaw Indians because they didn't want to come on. They had so much of the government that they didn't want to come to Oklahoma because they'd have more. So they lived there and around Harrison, Arkansas. And
What were their names?
Estes was my grandmother's maiden name.
Okay. What were their
Estes.
first names?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I
Did
just
you know
don't.
your grandmother?
What?
Did you know your grandmother?
I knew my grandmother, yes.
Did she
yes.
talk about the trail?
No, she did not. They had a horrible experience because they finally, after when she was small, her family decided they would come on to Oklahoma. So they came in with horse and wagon, and her mother died on the way. And I don't know, we have looked and looked for her grave, but have never been able to find it. But my grandmother did have all kinds of Indian. When she did the laundry for them, she did it out over a fire in a big kettle. And she made barrels of kraut. And she also did all the work. In my mind, my grandmother died when I was in the 3rd grade, but in my mind I always thought that he was responsible because she went out and she did all the work. She went with the men to the timber and cut the wood and all that sort of stuff, just like probably Indian women did.
Yes, yes.
But anyway, my grandmother was a great person. She came help my dad butcher when he butchered the hogs. And she came and stayed with my mother when she was ill, expecting a baby. She was housebound. And I can remember her, and I was probably 7 or 8 years old.
Now, where were you living at this time?
What?
Where were you living at this time?
Outside, in the country, outside of Lenapaw.
Okay, okay.
And she would go down and cut the ice, go to the pond about half a mile away, and cut the ice and bring back and put in the ice box. You know, those are strange memories, but I do remember that.
What was your grandfather's name?
My grandfather's was Tate.
Tate.
And
okay.
her maiden name was Estes.
Okay, okay.
And I can remember sitting on her lap, and I can remember so much when she passed away. No, as I said, I was in the 3rd grade.
Okay. As a little girl, what chores did you do?
What chores did I do? I don't really remember doing a lot of chores. Oh, I did feed the chickens, and I can remember getting out, chasing the baby chicks when it rained so they wouldn't drown. And I helped in the garden, you know, hoed weeds and things like that. But and my mother was good about it. As we grew up, she taught us how to cook and all this stuff.
Okay.
But anyway, she was a great person. My grandfather's family, the Tates, came here on the land run from northern Kansas. And I never knew exactly what land they had. But I can remember, my great-grandmother on the Tate side. There were 7 brothers, and my grandmother lived to be, or my great-grandmother lived to be 102 or 3. And the latter part of her life, my mother, she was bedfast, but my mother took care of her. Although she had 7 boys, none of the boys' wives. Just so my mother did it. And then after that, of course, then she seemed like all of her life, her earlier life, she spent nursing women. I mean, she had, then after that, my father's grandmother was my great-grandmother. She came, and my mother took care of her until she passed away.
What was her name?
Stevenson.
Stevenson.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, of course, my grandfather lived with my parents after I was married. When he got older and had to be taken care of. So my mother spent most of her life.
Do you know which land run they made?
What?
Do you know which land run they
No,
made?
I don't.
89, 93?
I don't. probably was 89,
89.
I would think, because that would be about.
You know where they lived?
No, because when she came here from, my great-grandmother came here afterwards. For some reason, the boys must have stayed, but the parents went back.
Okay.
And she came here from Kansas, and when my mom, when she got where she couldn't, no one could take care of her.
Did they talk about the run, the day of the run?
No, because she was, at that time, she was older, you know, and alone, and so, and my grandfather never talked about, he had 7 brothers, you know, but anyway, and I can remember also, I can remember my parents entertained, their entertainment was having country dances. I'm sure you even remember that probably. But I can remember going to lots of those country dances.
Tell me about the country dance.
Well, it was just, the neighbors just got together. My grandfather was a fiddle player. I never knew about, you know, where they came from or what nationality they were. But he was strictly an Irish kind of person. In fact, I can remember him, well, he lived until way after we were married. And I can remember him playing the fiddle and doing the Irish jig at the same time.
Now, the country dance, was it held inside or outside?
Inside people's houses. They'd usually have what little furniture they had. They'd either move it out of the room or push it aside.
Had a good time.
Oh, yes. So I remember that, and when we got older, when we got married and had children, we decided that we'd take square dance lessons, because that sounded a lot like what my family had a lot of fun dancing, you know, and I can remember the circle dancing and all this sort of stuff. But so we took square dancing, we square danced for 40 years. And we held all, that's the reason we got to see all of the states, because we got so into it and worked on the Northeast Board of Square Dancers and the Oklahoma Board of Square Dancers, and then we went to national square dances in each state. So that's where we got a lot of our visiting states. You know, but my mom was our lifesaver. I mean, she, you know, I felt like my dad was kind of like my grandpa. You know, he would get out if he could work, he'd work, but he wasn't much of a farmer. But my mom would get out and hoe the corn and make us go with her and shock the wheat and all this sort of stuff. Raise chickens and raise the garden. Well, I really don't know what my dad really. If he didn't have a job, I don't know what he did otherwise.
Did you help shock the wheat?
No, I wasn't big enough when that was going on. Yeah. But I always went with her. But and then I can remember having, when we could afford it, we'd have the threshers, and everyone didn't have a threshing machine, so they'd go to different houses and have a meal or something, you know, while it over.
Do you remember the thresher?
What?
Do you remember the thresher?
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Well, I mean, I don't know much about it except in haul the shocks of wheat to the machine and put it in, and then of course it'd blow the oats out. Yeah.
Was it steam powered?
I think it must have had to be. Yeah. But I don't, you know. I was really a small girl.
Yeah. Okay.
But, you know, I just thought that you might like to hear that too. Because
anything else?
I can't think of anything else. No,
okay.
But my dad would, though. I laughed about that because he did have different jobs, and you know, he worked in the oil field some, and he worked at the Grand River Dam, but when he got any money, he only had 2 girls when we were younger. The boy came later, but he always said he wished he had a boy. But he just anything we wanted that he could get, he got it for us. I can remember his going to on Saturday nights if we had 10 cents or whatever it took to go to a movie. He'd drive. It didn't make whether he had to get out in the mud, and get stuck and get us there. He'd always drive us on Saturday night to the movie if he had the money.
How do you celebrate 4th of July?
Just with family. I mean, I don't remember any firecrackers or anything like that. Probably, if there were any, we couldn't afford them. But my mother's family was really close, and we spent a lot of time at holidays and everything with my mother's family.
How about Christmas?
Christmas, we always had a Christmas tree. We'd go down in the timber or something, and my dad would, and cut one down and then decorate it with, if we had popcorn or berries or something like that, we'd decorate. And I don't remember anything about any gifts because, of course, we couldn't afford many gifts. But I remember a doll that my mom and dad gave me when I was small. So I had a sister that was 3 years younger and we were just really pals,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Okay.
You're welcome. So you're going to talk to Bob.
Yes.
Bob we have known him for years because they were square dancers too.
Yes.
And they just lived down the street from us.
Yes.
About a block or for a long time.
Okay. Okay.
Each in Marcia.
But again, this is August 31st, 2021, a follow-up interview with Maxine Monte.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.